All right, well, here we are, episode 1 of LEAFHacks, and I'd like to just kind of get everybody on the same page and give you a quick tour of the dashboard and the controls and consoles, just so that I will probably refer to these in the future, and just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. And also, for those of you that are new to EVs and may not have ever seen the inside of a Leaf, then this will be a chance for you to kind of see what we have on the console and so on. All right, we're going to start at the top. I'm actually here charging at a charging station, and so I'm just going to give you a quick tour. We'll start right at the top of the heads-up display, or the almost heads-up display. We've got basically 3 main displays here. The thing there on the left that's not showing anything right now, but that's the tree display, which kind of rewards you with trees that get built as you drive efficiently. So it's not showing anything right now. Maybe I'll be able to show you something later where an actual tree is there. Of course, next you've got the speedometer and then a clock and temperature. So that's pretty much it for that. Coming down here behind the steering wheel, here's what we've got here. On the left, we have the battery temperature gauge. Okay, you've got some bars that light up. At the top, these bubble-looking things. Let me zoom in a little. These basically show whether you are currently drawing power from the battery or regenerating, say if you're using the regenerative braking. And this is somewhat of a subtle item, but you can see that each one of those has 2 circles around it. Okay, during times when either the full regenerative braking is not available, say when the battery is full or when it's very cold, or on the power side there, when you're in limited power function, say when the battery is very, very low, those things will go down to a single bubble. And again, I'll try to snap some pictures of examples of when that happens. That means you don't have the full regenerative braking capacity or the full power capacity. And so that's the way it visually shows you that. Okay, the next, just below that, you can see that there's a picture of a plug flashing. That, of course, means that I'm actually plugged in and charging. You can see that. When the car is in ready to drive mode, then the icon to the right of it, you can kind of barely make that out. It's a picture of a car with an arrow that would light up and say, okay, that's when you're actually ready to drive, because there's not an audible cue like you get in a gas vehicle with the engine running, that the car is actually ready to drive. It wouldn't work if I tried to put it in drive right now because I'm plugged in. So it's not ready to drive. Okay, in the middle, of course, you see the gear shift indicator. That's the P. It's in park right now. And the odometer there with the trip odometer. I can switch between trip odometers. The center display is variable. It can show the instantaneous and average energy economy. So for right now, for example, I've averaged 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. If I was actually going this would be an actual bar graph going to the left to show me how my instantaneous efficiency is. Higher is better, and higher is better for the average as well. Anyway, by pushing this button here, okay, it's just to the left of the steering wheel, I can cycle between different displays. So I can have an average speed display, driving distance, and elapsed time. I can reset those at any time. So that's yet another kind of trip odometer type thing. And then there's a menu and a display on how long it would take to charge to 100% or 80% if I have that timer set up at either 240 or 120 volts. I'm currently charging, so it's not going to show anything right now. In fact, I'm fast charging, so I can't remember if that shows the actual estimated time when I'm actually charging at 240 or 120. Okay, and in a future video, I'm going to show you that I do kind of reset that average fuel economy setting, and I'll explain why in a future episode. Okay, to the right of that is my battery gauge. So I've got 4 bars, and that's out of 12. And the number there, just went up by 1. The number there is what we affectionately call the guessometer, showing 29 miles of estimated range. We call it the guessometer because it tends to hop around a lot, and it's very dependent on your recent driving history. So if you've just gotten off the highway, that number is going to be lower than if you were driving around in city traffic. Okay, that's about it for that section of the display. Let me go to the steering wheel. So on the steering wheel, we've got several different buttons available. We've got this button, which you can use to answer the phone. The top button here is a very seldom used button that brings up a display on the map that shows your current driving range. Let me show that. So it kind of shows you in the center of that bullseye map. Shows charging stations around there, and it has 2 circles which kind of indicate how far you can drive on the current charge. And you can see that it says 21 miles is kind of your safe distance, and then 30 miles, which is what 31, which is what the guessometer is showing right now. Okay. The source button, this is actually a push button. You can push it to change your music source between things like radio, AM, FM, the CD, or the Bluetooth audio, etc. And if you click it up or down like that or that, you can actually do things like skip to the next station if it's on radio, or if you're listening to MP3 files, it'll skip to the previous or next song, next track. Okay, going down from there, we've got volume buttons. This is the command button here, where you can actually give the car voice commands, such as call so-and-so, or navigate to home. And then there's a back button, which you can also use in conjunction with that. On the other side, we've got the cruise control cluster here. So we can either turn cruise on or off. And then, this is pretty standard cruise control functionality. We have a coast/set, click it down, or accelerate, resume, click it up, and then a cruise control cancel. Now, this is a 2012. The newer cars, the 2013 and beyond, will have an eco button right there. I actually access eco mode a little differently on the 2011 and 2012 models. We can show a little difference between that in a future video. Okay, let's come over here to the center console. Right now it's on that kind of bullseye map that I showed earlier. This is the regular map, the navigation map, and you access that by clicking this map button. There's a status thing that I really like. This kind of gives you a couple different displays. Shows you, for example, your average efficiency and instantaneous, very much like that display in the center of the instrument panel. But you can reset this one independently. So again, in a future video, I'm going to go over some of the reasons why you might want to do that. And you can get other statuses. If I had a route programmed in, it would be showing me the next instruction there. Also shows me the current climate control settings. Okay, and then that cycles back. We got a menu button here on the right that accesses the various menus. This is how you would program in a destination to the navigation. You can get information on your route, your phone setup, information settings, and CarWings, which CarWings is the Nissan Telematics system. This has things such as information feeds. You can get RSS feeds to download through CarWings. Let me just give you an example of that. So you've got things like the zero emission. That's going to show me some stats on how I've been driving. The route planner, which is something you can do on a website to plan a route. You can download your routes. And also Google Maps. When you're in Google Maps, you can send a destination to the car, and this is how you would come to the car and retrieve that destination. Okay, let's see what else we have here. We've got, these are the audio controls along the left. You can switch to radio, XM radio, CD aux that lets you get either the CD, which is located, I'm going to show you that. Get that open tilt. There's the CD player. Or you can access, if you had plugged into a USB port here, you can access that. Or Bluetooth. You can actually hook it up to your Bluetooth enabled phone. You know, you've got your volume controls and your on off, which is really the only way to mute this thing is to just turn it off. Finally, we've got a pretty useful button down here. I don't know if it has an official name. I call it the zero emission button because that's what it says, or the blue E or whatever. You click that and you can easily get to a bunch of EV specific driving menu items. And in this menu, the one that you're going to use a couple of these buttons quite a bit. This is one I'm going to use a lot to display. This is the energy info. Much like the bubble display that I showed you earlier, this display here on the left is actually going to show us, with a little bit more accuracy, the actual power from 0 to 80 kilowatts that we're drawing from the battery, and on the regen side from 0 to 30 kilowatts. So that one's a little nice to watch to see how efficiently you're driving. On the right here, we've got the climate control power being used, so I do have that on right now. I'm drawing, looks like just less than 1.5 kilowatts at the moment. And then the other systems, this is everything else. This is the nav system, the radio, the headlights. You can see that if I put on the windshield wipers, it kind of ticks up there. Things like that. Anything that's not the motor or the climate control falls into that category. Okay. So this is call it the energy info page. There's a couple other things here. You've got energy economy. This is just as we've seen before in the status. This is giving me my average efficiency as well as instantaneous. And then a history. And this is going to show me whenever I've reset the economy on the center console here, it's going to show me a new entry in this what they call reset intervals. Okay, and then to get back to the energy usage. Okay, going back to that main thing. I mean, you've got a number of different functions you can access. You got the driving range. That's that bullseye display. You can access nearby charging stations. If you need a charge, you can hit that and it'll give you a list of nearby stations. Your current location, I don't have a destination set, but it would allow me to look for charging stations near my destination if I had. Anyway, I'll just do a search here on the near current location, so it'll show you the different charging stations and how far away they are. And if I click on one, I can actually navigate to it, for example. Okay, now it's automatically started navigation to that location. Well, actually, I'd have to hit start to actually do that. Okay, let me back out of there. Okay, if I want to update stations, it will do this automatically, but it will force a download of new charging station information from CarWings. That is, I would say, fairly outdated information. I would not rely on that uh, to necessarily show you the most recent stations. But it is the most convenient way. So once the stations are in CarWings, it's, as you've seen, it's very well integrated into the navigation, and it's easy to navigate to a charging station. But just so you're aware, that information usually lags behind. Okay, down here we've got a charging timer. Lets you set 2 timers and which days they're assigned to. Things like if you're going, at least on this model, if you're going to charge to 100% or 80%, and so on. We'll go over in a future video how we're going to effectively use that. And then similarly, you've got the climate control timer. Again, you've got 2 timers. And we'll again go over that operation in a future video. Okay, you can get to the CarWings information again, and you can do your settings. Okay, moving along, this is the climate control controls. We've got the temperature here. By the way, this is going to look a little different on newer vehicles. It's not laid out quite the same, but it's pretty similar. We've got the front and rear defrost settings here. The mode, you're going to have to look up here. The mode just sets where you want the venting to come out. Okay. Auto is, some people don't like this. I pretty much use it all the time. Auto just says, look, I'm going to set my temperature. You figure out where to direct the air, where it's needed, and the speed of the fan. So I'm not sure why some people don't like it, but I think it's pretty good. It's always going to have what's called AC on. When you do that, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make the air colder. That just means that the air conditioning compressor runs to condition the air, as it would imply. That happens whether it's in the winter and the heater's on, or whether it's in the summer and it's cooler. So some people get upset about that. I'll explain how to completely disable the AC from a power standpoint in a future video, but I don't get too upset if that's on. And then finally, we've got here whether you're going to get fresh air or recirculated air, and then the fan speed. But again, auto just kind of takes care of that all itself. If I go in and manually adjust the fan speed or something, it automatically shuts auto off. See, the light went off. And then I can turn the climate control off or on completely with this button here. Okay, up here in the dash are these 3 blue lights that some of them blink, some of them don't, at various times. Right now I've got the one there is solid on, the other one is blinking, and the third one to the left is off. Okay, this is basically the right now, when it's blinking like this, it's showing the state of charge, and while I'm charging. So I am charging. This is showing that I'm in the second third of battery capacity. So the first one on the far right might be the only one blinking. That means I'm between 0 and 33%. The next one, 33 to 66, and then finally, when I'm at the top third, that last one would be blinking as well. So if someone walks up to the Leaf and sees that some of these lights are blinking, they can get somewhat of an idea of how long that I have left to to charge. If it's almost done, they know that they can come back maybe in 15 minutes, half an hour kind of time frame. But if it's all the way down to only the first light blinking, they know I'm going to be here a while. This also shows things like when the timer's set and it's not hasn't actually started charging yet, and also when the climate control has been manually started from the app. A light blinks. Another light will blink when the 12-volt battery has been drained somewhat and is being recharged from the main battery. Oh, and there we go. It's just gone into the final third. All right, here are a few other controls that we have along the left side. And this will be different on a 2013. There's a fourth button on this row. So we've got the traction control on-off button. This button that has a plug and a clock and the word off is the timer off button. So if you want to disable your charging timer, you would press that button, and that will turn off the charging timer, which usually has the effect of having the charging start immediately and to 100% if you have an overnight timer. The next button is the steering wheel heater, which is very nice in the winter. And down here we've got the headlight aiming button. I don't use that one at all. That one tilts the headlights if you had, say, a big load in the back. And then those are empty. And then further down, let's see if I can get that. You've got the hood release on the right here, and this one with the blue is the charging port release. On the newer cars, that is actually the fourth button over here. Well, there's another new button as well. Okay, that's it for that. Now, if we come over here, I didn't go over this area completely. Again, we saw this. This was the USB port here. Okay, so you can use that to charge and also play your music through if you have a memory stick or even your phone. Seat heaters. It's got a high and low setting. This is the audio input. Okay, if you have a headphone jack. And then one only other thing here is the rear seat heater button is right there. Okay, about the only other thing to show you is the gear shift. This kind of mouse-looking thing, trackball, I don't know what you'd call it. This actually lets you, this is how you shift into, as it says down here, drive or eco on this version of the car, or the drive or B mode, neutral and reverse. So you can see that what I want to do is I want to put it into drive, for example, I would push it over and down, and reverse would be over and up. Neutral just to the left, and you hold it. And you don't have to worry about being very accurate. After you get used to this, it's more like just like that. It's very quick. And then to put it in park, you hit the P. That's it. That'll put it into park. Okay, and just to the rear of the gear shift selector is the parking brake. And you can see the red light is on right now, indicating that it's set. To release it, just push down. It's an electronic parking brake. This is only on the older models. The newer models went back to a traditional foot-operated parking brake, a mechanical one. And to set it, you just pull up, and there it engages. One kind of neat feature here is that to release the parking brake automatically, if your seatbelt is on, your seatbelt does have to be on, and you have the car in gear, either reverse or drive, and hit the gas, the parking brake will release automatically. So I guess that could be useful on a steep hill, for example. But kind of a neat feature to know about. Okay, so that's the quick tour of the interior of the Leaf. And again, this is the 2012 model. The 2013 is going to vary a little bit. I can go over some of those differences. And hopefully that will get everybody at least on the same page and introduce the new folks to what the inside of the Leaf looks like and how it operates. We will return again in a future episode to start to show a few tips and how I operate the car on a regular basis to kind of give you some best practices there. Until next time, see you later.